Good evening, this is Atmospheric Alex here, and welcome back to another tropical weather outlook and discussion. We're starting to run a little bit thin on these, right, as we're heading further into October. Before you know it, we're going to be tracking winter weather, right? I mean, only 2 months from now, maybe even a little bit less. Time flies by, doesn't it? So we're going to start off today's video by taking a look at Tropical Storm Jerry right now, which has just been exploding in convection and thunderstorm activity all day. You can see it right here. I mean, this thing has finally began to center itself here. You can see our lower level center and our convection are basically right on top of each other now. So this will allow Jerry to strengthen over the next few days, and it is closing in on the Lesser Antilles. Has moved a lot further west than I expected it to, especially from yesterday's video, and we are seeing potentially significant impacts on the islands right now, with 60-mile-an-hour sustained winds gusting up to maybe 80 miles an hour, heavy rainfall, high surf. I mean, you get the idea. It looks like a really nasty Thursday right now. And to give you all a better look at this, here is a National Hurricane Center's cone of uncertainty overlaid with our tropical storm force wind quadrants here, or radius, or radii, I should say, basically how far out these winds go. In this first shade, yellow is 34 knots, second shade is 50 knots. So basically around 55 to 60 mile an hour sustained winds are currently ongoing, mostly here on your southeast quadrant of your system, your east quadrant, northeast quadrant, north quadrant, and northwest quadrant of Jerry. While winds on your western southwestern quadrant are a lot weaker, thankfully, but still, we are seeing some of our northernmost islands right here, north of Antigua and Barbuda, that are getting slammed right now, getting slashed with upwards of 60-mile-an-hour sustained winds with gusts up to 80. Very serious conditions ongoing near Codrington right now. And one more important feature as we take a look at our FRLME weather radar here. Believe it or not, they have a radar on the island here just to the northeast of Guadalupe. You could definitely see intense thunderstorm activity is currently ongoing right now just offshore. That is something kind of to watch out for, but you can see our main area of rotation or circulation is right up here, your little eye there in your precipitation. So a very significant system ongoing. As we put this on loop here and move some things around, you could definitely see what we are talking about, a very crazy situation ongoing. Speaking of all that, let's look at some weather models for Jerry. This is our hurricane models showing very strong wind gusts, a few of them entering the islands here. You can see our max value down here is all the way up to 90 miles an hour. So destructive wind gusts are going to be possible through the islands tonight and going into tomorrow morning. Very, very serious conditions. In fact, this model is pushing things a lot further off to the west than forecasted, as our really explosive area of convection is tugging our system further west, and you could see just a lot of wind going on everywhere. And our rainfall, tons of it across our islands. Explosive thunderstorm activity will be likely tonight. Significant flooding will be possible, as we can see rain rates up to 3 to even 4 inches per hour in isolated locations. So you need to be extremely weather aware out there this evening and through tomorrow morning. How about our HAVS B model here? Shows roughly the same thing. Winds are a little bit weaker, so we'll have to wait and see. Gusts between 60 to 70. And then, yeah, you could definitely see it moving on through. So remember a few days ago when I was talking about significant impacts on the islands, it looks like it is unfortunately verifying as things have shifted westward. Our rainfall here, again, like I said, explosive thunderstorm activity going on. Very intense here. Almost looks like another center of low pressure is trying to form under that extreme deep convection there. That's something we're going to have to watch out for. So some strong to severe thunderstorms are going to be embedded within the outer and inner bands of Jerry tonight. For the rest of our system here, as we continue it through time, this is expected to strengthen into a hurricane, and because of how organized it's getting right now, you even have the off chance this becoming a Category 2 hurricane on the HAVS A model. That's a possibility, but not a forecast. And Bermuda, I'm sorry, I just noticed that there, could see maybe some impacts, but I really doubt it at this time. But if we continue seeing our deep convection where it is, like I said, our system could be tugged further west. We could see some complications for that island coming up in the next few days. Let's hope not, though. And with our halves B model here, again, that area of convection does take over on all of our hurricane models here. Bermuda gets directly impacted by hurricane conditions here. As we take a look at our wind gusts, this shows upwards of almost 100 miles an hour. Goodness gracious, I really hope we don't see that. We saw this with Imelda. We saw very significant impacts on the island, so hopefully we don't see it again. Definitely a little bit of a shakeup in events tonight, though, on our models. Something very interesting, and honestly, if you're going to ask me, a bit unexpected here. As we load our HWRF data here, it stays clear offshore of Bermuda, strengthens it to a major hurricane, so we're starting to see, some uptrends in our intensity here being possible. And our HMON, yeah, definitely showing substantial impacts to our islands. And then as we head out to Bermuda here, it does look like that other area of convection may take over. In Bermuda, you need to watch out closely, stay very weather aware, and maybe even start getting prepared now, just in case we see our westward shifts verify. Definitely unexpected data coming in tonight. This video will be longer than forecasted, one could say. Now, as we switch gears to the northeast here, finally we get to do that. I know the past few minutes have been very chaotic. Again, that was data I have not seen yet, and yeah, just a little bit weird, right? As we take a look here at our European ensemble model, you can see our low pressure system getting well established here, down into your upper 980s possibly. So this will bring very strong wind gusts onshore, heavy rainfall, you get the idea. And yeah, we could even see some storm surge in some isolated locations as well. We'll take a look at our wave forecast, or our wave models here, I should say, just a little bit, but we could see some more weird stuff after that. Just kind of going to be windy and cool conditions out there after this low pressure system. And to our main European model here, you could see it starting to tighten up a little bit. And again, our very strong pressure gradient just onshore here in the portions of, say, New Jersey, Delaware here, Maryland, even going into New York City proper there. Something we're going to really have to watch out for. And you can see it almost making a landfall there. So we're going to be talking about some pretty crazy conditions this weekend. And now we're going to look at our AI ensemble here, and shows roughly the same thing. Again, just noting how tight that pressure gradient gets right as it's about to slit up into New York City there. So going to be talking about some very strong, maybe damaging winds across some areas this weekend. And let's go ahead and take a look at our AI model, just our normal AI model. And again, it's that pressure gradient right up there that we're going to have to watch for. So, very tightly packed isobars right within here, and that is going to cause your very strong winds. Now for our GFS ensemble here, what does that show? Again, shows roughly the same thing, so we're pretty much locking in a solution here, a little bit weaker than models showed before, but very strong winds and heavy rain, and we'll get into more of the schematics here in just a minute. And our proper GFS model here is suggesting some very heavy rainfall making it onshore, and a much further westward scenario for sure panning out. So we are now going to go ahead and take a look at our maximum individual wave height forecast here from our European model. And we're going to go ahead on through the next few days, and you could see some high surf already starting up here along your North Carolina coastline, most especially your outer banks here, where we're talking about waves upwards at 25 to 30 feet. And again, I don't know if you've heard the news lately. I've talked about this in our last video here. There have been homes that have been falling into the ocean out here, due to beach erosion and many other factors as well. So we're expected to see a lot more collapses over this weekend. So if you do live in the Outer Banks area and you are living in one of those homes right along the shore, believe it or not, you may want to evacuate, just in case. I don't mean to sound so alarming about this, but I don't want you all falling into the ocean, especially if you're on stilts. That would hurt quite a lot, wouldn't it? You can see our wave heights here along our shore, upwards of 35 to 40 feet in some areas. Going into Long Island, we could see some very high waves as well. Yeah, to be completely honest, you do not want to be messing around with conditions like this. If you're right along the shore, living right there, you could expect some storm surge from this system. And I really hope some products could get issued for that. Despite this being a non-tropical system, in New York City definitely needs to watch out for this. If the winds are coming from the right direction, this could get very serious for you all. And then this moves on out. Still high waves sticking around all the way into the mid portions of next week. You need to stay extremely weather aware. Yeah, this is definitely a system that you don't usually see even at this time of year. Here's our European model here. In terms of our rainfall, you could see very heavy rain, going right into North Carolina here, right in the Outer Banks area, even pushing inland a little bit, but that's kind of irrelevant. And then our next little push, their next big push of rain going right into New England here, New Jersey, portions of Pennsylvania, Maryland, Delaware, New York. I mean, that whole area there getting swamped with quite a bit of rainfall. That's just going to continue here and then finally dies out towards the mid portions of next week, though some models have this staying around a bit longer. How about our maximum wind gust map? This is another feature that'll be very fascinating here. As we take a look at our Outer Banks here, we are talking about wind gusts upwards of around 40 miles an hour being possible. But if we're looking up into this area here, yeah, definitely talking about some wind gusts along the shore upwards of 60 to 65 miles an hour being possible. And so we're going to really have to watch out for this. Again, that's going to accelerate your storm surge threat along your coastline and push some of your higher waves right up against your coast as well. Gonna have to watch this closely. And so if I were you, I would prepare as if this is a tropical storm heading into your area. The impacts are going to be very similar. And on your GFS model, yeah, same song and dance there, some rain sticking around, so definitely going to be quite a yucky weekend up ahead and even into early next week. And actually, this model in particular does show upwards of 60 mile an hour winds right along your OBX region, which that is absolutely what we don't need at this time. And then some pretty strong winds getting well inland here. Yeah, area-wide 50 to 60 mile an hour gusts in a very populated area. You all need to stay very weather aware, stay vigilant, and watch out for rapidly changing coastal conditions. So that is something that we're going to have to watch. And just one more thing, we're going to talk about Priscilla here and the impacts it could have on Arizona, because I forgot to do that yesterday for some reason. You can see our massive swath of moisture that moves into Arizona here and surrounding areas. Thunderstorm activity, this is going on through into Saturday. We could see some more vigorous thunderstorm activity, perhaps even some strong to severe thunderstorms developing in this environment here. Could we even see a brief spin-up tornado? Well, it is not out of the question. And this continues on through going into Sunday. That definitely looks a little bit concerning right there, but let me tell you this. This is our RRFS, our RUFS model, and it is fairly inaccurate as of now because it is in development. So I don't necessarily think we'll see any well-defined classic supercells that develop, but we're going to have to stay weather aware, because regardless of what happens, you do have somewhat of a tornado risk. So we're going to take a look at this here going through time. We do have fairly low end, but non-zero significant tornado parameter values here across southern and central Arizona. Much more elevated parameters here across northwestern Arizona and southeastern Nevada, but I don't think that's really going to do all that much. But again, just in case, you need to stay weather aware. Maybe turn on your weather alerts on your phone. That might be a good idea. And maybe even turn on your weather radios as well. You really can't go wrong with doing that. And with that being said, thank you so much for tuning into today's quite lengthy video. We got a lot to go over, right? I hope you all enjoyed it. If you did, please be sure to smash that like button, subscribe to my little corner of the weather community, and share this with your friends and family on social media, and even leave a comment section below if you found this video informative or even entertaining. With that said, you all have a wonderful night, everyone, and stay weather aware down here in your Lesser Antilles, here in Bermuda, here along your entire eastern seaboard, even outwards into Arizona and surrounding desert Southwest states, and even the Caribbean. We're going to watch out next week for something to possibly form.